right, Josh. Let's build my sealed deck. I don't know if I'm going to be playing it just yet, but I'll record my deck building process for Theros sealed. Here we go. Build your deck. I already bought the cards and looked at them. I think you saw that video. Let's go over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put all removal and win conditions into the deck, no matter what color they are. So here. Nope, that's removal. Uh, removal. It's not really removal. Whenever an enchantment enters, that's the mill card. Return target creatures and a tempo card. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield. This is a really good card, but I mean it's an auto include, but it's not removal or a win condition. This, because it's hexproof, is essentially a removal of another removal card, but it's conditional, so I'm not going to put it in just yet. This is the auto include mill card just for long games. Unless you're running an aggro deck, really good creature. That's mill. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 mill cards. I guess that's an archetype that's possible, but let's see. Let's keep going. Devotion in blue. Hurts removal. Little big butt. He's got evasion. That wins games. 3/4 flying with Scry is amazing. Removal. I'm not gonna call that removal because -1, though it can be used as a removal, is just too conditional and doesn't work for most of the creatures. The discard is good. This is removal. It's a sacrifice removal, but when you're keeping their board clear, then having them sacrifice a creature a lot of times is their big creature because they've already chump blocked. Also, having them sacrifice an enchantment. I know there's a lot of enchantment creatures, but oftentimes the only enchantment that they have on the board is not a creature and is a problem, right? This wins games. It's a 4/4 flyer that lets all of your creatures come back. This is removal. Also works very well with the Shepherd. I know I'm talking about synergies, but that's not what I'm going for right now. This is very conditional removal, so I'm not going to put it in. This is straight removal. Let's see. Do I have any other omens? Omen of the Sun is conditional removal that you know about. I'm actually going to put that in because I consider it removal. As much as Omen of the Forge is, at least. This can create you 3 or 4 creatures that are good for sacrificing or carrying equipment. Alright. Cycle. This is again conditional removal, but it works very well. So I'm going to put that in as removal. Destroys an artifact, but artifacts aren't common enough in this format for it to be considered removal. It's usually just a creature with haste. This is removal if you're sacrificing a lot. Let's see. If you've got sacrifice abilities, this is definitely removal. And sacrifice abilities go with Nightmare Shepherd well. This is straight removal, does 4 damage. There we go. This is a finisher. That's just a good card. Let's see, 7/3 for 5 is some big creature. Alright, so at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 3 and sacrifice a non-land permanent. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library. This is good with satyrs or other token generators. Also good for decks that have certain creatures in it. Like, you know, if you've got a creature that when it comes into play, into the battlefield, you can find a land and it's like a 1/1 or a 1/2, then that works. This works very well with escape creatures too. So when this is on the field, if you have a chain web spider over here, then you can sacrifice it and get another permanent. It goes in your graveyard, and when it comes back out, because it does damage, right? It deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying, and there's a lot of creatures with flying. So, you know, doing 1 damage is marginally removal, but escaping out with and doing 4 damage to a flyer is removal. Death Touch is pseudo removal. This is a bomb. It just grows forever, so that ends games. I will call this removal because of its escapability. And there's just enough flyers that it is. This fixes mana. Untap another creature. It's +1/+1 till the end of the turn. This is removal because it destroys enchantments in this format. That is, and it exiles cards from a graveyard, so it removes an escape creature, an enchantment creature, an enchantment, or the rare artifact. This helps you get to the end game and gives you 2 scry. So if you have a slower deck, like this goes really well with Kior Best the Sea God, right? You can blank a turn, scry 2, help you find the Sea God. I really want to play with Sea God. I'm not going to let that cloud my decision just yet, though. Devotion to Green. That's a finisher. So, and if we're in green, then we're going to have like double green here, even, or triple green here, even just like +3/+3 for all creatures wins the game, right? So it's very color specific, but if you're playing green, it wins the game. Excellent card. That's, you know, most likely an auto include if I'm playing either one of those colors. So this birthing pod is with the right mana curve. It's a really good card. I wouldn't call it a win condition, and it's certainly not removal, but it's a very good card. Shadow Spear wins games, so that's an auto include. It just doesn't go in yet, but it will be. Again, a very good card if you have any chump blockers or satyrs or whatever. Let's see. Do we have sacrifice abilities? Yeah, Lampad is a sacrifice ability. So black-red sacrifice seems okay as an archetype. Only got 2 big green creatures. So how do I get to the end game for Kiora Bests, right? So let's look at mana fixing just to see how much we have. Omen of the Hunt fixes mana for blue. Relentless Pursuit can fix mana, and it's pretty much always useful. And this can help you find things. The Moss Viper helps you get to the end game. This helps you fix mana. Traveler's Amulet fixes mana. This doesn't give blue, but it does give green, which is where all the mana fixing is. Alright, so that's everything that's either removal or just wins the game, right? So I'm going to switch it over to this and put them all in by color first. So we've got green, black, white, red, and black, and blue. All right, so we have 1 blue card that is still worth playing. We have 4 red, 4 white, 4 black, or 5 black, and 4 green. So we could go with any color because of how good this card is. The other game ender is Nightmare Shepherd. Removal, removal, removal. Game ender, or win condition. So win condition, win condition, win condition. Removal, win condition, removal. Removal, removal, and removal. Removal, removal, and removal. All right, so we have a lot of removal, and we've got 2 green win conditions, 1 black, 1 blue. Obviously, my favorite is blue, but you know, what can you do? All the red could be splashed reasonably. All the white could also be splashed. Black would be much harder to splash, and blue can be splashed just because it's a 7 cost, even though it's got two lands, right? So I really like Omen of the Sun and this removal card, but honestly, red removal is just better. This is a good removal. This is good removal. The red pool is better than the white pool. So I'm going to cut white. Green gives us this is conditional, but it's 2 ways to win the game. And it fixes mana. So, what can we do? Let's move all the removal into 1 spot and put. So this is how we win the game. So how do we get to these, or how do we make these work, right? So now we're looking for this. We're looking for sacrifice abilities and enter the battlefield abilities, right? That are in blue, red, and black. Blue, red, black, and green. So just not white. Let's see. So this can actually use the Nightmare Shepherd. You can come back with the Nightmare Shepherd. So this works well with the Nightmare Shepherd. So I'm just looking for enablers for my game win conditions. This creates 2 blockers in blue to get to Kiora Best. This draws cards to get to Kiora Best, and it's a 1/2 blocker if need be. This helps us get to Kiora Best, but not well. This does. Great blocker. The other win condition is aggro, right? So if I can't really make any of these work well, I can always go aggro or just go wide. When it deals damage, you mill. Nope. Equal to blue. This makes it harder for to be targeted. So it just makes all removal cost 1 more. Right? And it helps you get there. This definitely helps you get there. And it's kind of its own win condition. This works very well for Nightmare Shepherd, as he comes in, and when he dies, he creates the goat and comes back. And then when he dies again, he creates another goat. So it's 4 cards with the Nightmare Shepherd, right? This helps the Nightmare Shepherd because you can sacrifice creatures to get their abilities. So you can sacrifice the Piper. Death Touch actually helps us get to Kiora Best. So because it adds lifelink as well as taking cards out of their hand, it's an excellent card. I mean, it can help you get to Kiora Best. It can help you, like, you can put it on something to turn it into a threat that makes Nightmare Shepherd better. I mean, it's just a good card all around, but it doesn't quite fit into any of these just yet. Let's see. This also works well with the Nessian Hornbeetle because it will grow as long as this is on the board, and if it gets killed, it will come back and continue to grow. This is great for the beetle and for aggro. That's really good for the birthing pod. Enchantment, where you can... Oh, no. You can sacrifice the 1/1 satyrs to get 1-cost creatures, I guess. And you can still sacrifice them to gain 1 life and make your opponent lose 1 life. This becomes removal with Lampad. That filters, but it doesn't help you get really any closer. I mean, it helps you get closer to Kiora, but it's not a major enabler like this is. This one, yeah, it's a good card, but it's just, these aren't truly helping you get Kiora out. This puts pressure on it, scries repeatably, so it does. I'm not sure why this isn't here. Death Touch is alright, but no. With Kiora, with really trying to get Kiora, you don't want to self-mill too much if you can help it. Yeah, Eidolon's good though. If a creature would be dealt damage this turn or die, exile it. That's alright. It's really good looting. And looting. This works with Nightmare Shepherd. Or with Lampad. You steal and then sacrifice it after you attack with it. Let's see. This fixes mana for Kiora Bess. It also adds devotion for Kothis Design. And good blocker. Oh, this is the one with the satyrs. So if we use the Dream Shaper Shaman, we should be using this escape card to feed to the Dream Shaper Shaman. Dream Shaper Shaman also does very well with Nightmare Shepherd because you can sacrifice creatures that have entered the battlefield effects and they'll come back with Nightmare Shepherd. So it's a combo. It's a game-winning combo, actually. No, no, no. Fixes mana for Kiora. Definitely good for the beetle, especially since it can come back and help again. This is really good for flyers or evasion creatures, which, but it's also white. That has to have a perfect curve. All right, so it looks like this isn't going to happen, right? The beetle. Let's see. So we've got a 5/4 here, and a 4/4 here, 5/4 here, 4/4 there. This is not happening. Sorry, beetle. So now let's sort back into colors again. Oh, actually, let's see here. So we can go blue-green. We can go red-black. So let's look at our removal colors. Yeah, so we've got 4 removal in black and 4 removal in red. Looks like we're red-black. Really want Kiora. The other option is we could certainly splash red, like go blue-green with A little bit of mana fixing and splash this red. It's a lot of red. So if we don't go black, what are the things that I'm upset about? These two only work if you have Nightmare Shepherd, really. Those two are just removal. That's fine. I've got plenty of removal in red. And again, since they're removal, they could be splashed. So removal can be splashed easily if it's just got one mana symbol, right? Since this is removal only with Lampad. It gets in for damage because it's hard to block if you've got a 2 toughness creature, but without Lampad, it's not good enough. So am I willing to drop these 2 cards? For sure. Think so. So we're not black. This can be very good for Kiora Best. If you know Kiora is in your library, then we can do this every turn and try to get it out. That seems alright. Yeah, get rid of the rest of the black. So, alright. I really like this red as a splash. It's also a 4/5 creature. It's an enchantment that helps us find mana with Nessian. These are also enchantments. And that's an enchantment, and Omen's Cry. So I am okay with all of this. So here's what I'm going to do. At this point, I'm going to pull up land, and I'm just going to put in plains until I have 40 cards. So that I can save the deck and come back into it. Remove all the plains. Oops, sorry. And I have 6, 12, 17 lands, right? Alright, so this is my mana curve that I'm looking at. I need this is a late game play a lot of times. I mean, it's fine to play it on turn, with 5, 6, 7 mana out. This is pretty much good at any time. So we don't have any true early game cards before turn 5, before 5 mana, right? Since these are removal, they're also fine later in the game. So our main color is actually green, right? We've got a spider, removal, mana fixing, and scry, right? So let's look at what we have in green. It makes this work. So now the beetle becomes viable again. The spider works. Adding +1/+1, or you can, once you've played this, you could have a 4/4 creature pretty easily. This with a blessing on it or an aspect on it makes it a 4/4 creature. So we're looking for big creatures, ways to filter to get to Kiora, mana fixing, and good blockers to get to the end game. Right? And we can finish it out with Witness of Tomorrow and with removal or Kiora Best. The Sea God. This is a 3 mana, 4 power creature that helps the beetle. Right? So something to think about. I don't know that we're doing it. Moss Viper definitely helps us get to the end game. This also puts the escape could be relevant, but this, yeah, that goes in. If nothing else, it's good for the beetle. It puts on pressure at 3 cost, and it can escape and continue to help the beetle if the beetle isn't removed first, which it will be. That's fine. The Typhon also puts a lot of pressure on and can escape. This one I think costs a little bit too much. Double or triple green mana is great with this, but we're not going wide. So Clothis design probably isn't going to make it. This just costs a lot of mana. Once we get to 7 mana, we're looking, or 6 mana, we're looking to try to get Kiora out, Witness of Tomorrow. Like there's other things we're doing. A 7 mana Typhon escape. You know, there's just too many other things that we're doing for him to get into the deck at this point. Sacrificing an enchantment. Search for a creature card with converted mana cost 1 plus the... Alright, so this can sacrifice so far Omen of the Hunt, Aspect of the Mana Core, Irana's Blessing. These are all good targets because they've already done what they need to do by the time they're in the field. They give additional ongoing benefit, but still worth sacrificing, right? So 2 3 costs, 2 4 costs, a 1 cost if you need to. He can be sacrificed if there's a 6. Yeah, you can sacrifice him to get the Dream Shaper Shaman out. You can sacrifice 4 costs, or Irana's Blessing to grab Witness. You could sacrifice the Dream Shaper Shaman to get Kiora. So it's enough that this is very playable. We need red and green, so that works. Let's see what enchantments we have. Traveler's Amulet, for sure. How many 1/1 or 1/2 type creatures? We have a Eidolon. We could put this on the turtle, which allows us to crew a first strike. Shadow Spear is an auto include. I mean, the lifelink helps us get to Kiora. Them losing Indestructible is not something to overlook. And then Trample with Kiora or Typhon is just too good to pass up. So this is the deck, right? We're going to, I'll put in a Bronze Sword to make it 40, save it, and then we'll come back one more time. Take the Bronze Sword out. We've got a 39 card deck, assuming that this is the right mana. We are trying to get to 7 mana, so I think 17 with a Traveler's Amulet, Nessian Wanderer, and a Omen is the right number. And, you know, we're going to need more green than we do red and blue, for sure. But let's see what we have in green, blue, and red that would make our last two cuts. This can just win games through mill. This is an enchantment that can be sacrificed to find the Chimera, but it gives hexproof and +1/+1, and it's got flash. This turns into witnesses. Kiora. I mean, it can turn into the Kraken. I think that this has to go in. This helps us get there, right? It's not really removal, but it taps a creature down for 2 turns and can escape and tap them down for another 2 turns. I think this probably makes it, but I'm not sure. Let's see, what else? This is 2 creatures that block well and hold enchantments very well. It's a very good card. We aren't going to have much devotion to blue until we have Kiora out, but at that point we win the game anyway. This helps us loot, and we have 1, 2. This enchantment I don't count for anything because that once that comes down, the game is over. So yeah, we can draw a card, and if we do discard a card when Kiora comes out, but we won't. It won't matter at that point. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 enchantments for Constellation. It's 5 cost. We have good 5 cost creatures. We'd almost always rather be playing Witness of Tomorrow over Shoal Kraken. At 5 cost, this Constellation just doesn't do enough. Combat Trick as removal, I could make it. So there's that. Of course, if the satyrs could block, that would go in. If I could sacrifice that, that would go in. But I'm not in aggro deck right now. At least not early aggro. I could be late game aggro, for sure. Witness, Typhon, some enchantments, Nessian Hornbeetle, Escape, Spider. Yeah, I'm late game aggro. This is a 1/3 body that can help us get to Kiora. That's also a very good option. This cycles, but it cycles once, where this can cycle all day long. This is a very good aggro. He goes in as a 3/4. I mean, assuming you don't have the Labyrinth, which is a rare card. He goes in at 3/4, and if he's not, like, he has to be blocked, because if he's not, you can activate his ability 3 times, and he represents 6 damage. That's just a finisher for aggro decks. Kiora is going to tap them down if we can get it out. Otherwise, we have flyers with removal. Let's see. Good mid-game pressure, for sure, at 5 cost. I mean, he doesn't help us get to Kiora, but he does help us just win. So does this. You can make him a 5/5 menace. Yeah, he also can just win. I think. What happened there? Yeah, I think this one actually helps us win more than this. Because he can just be blocked by anything with 3 power and trade. He'll have 5/5 menace, and potentially by that point of the game, we might have a Shadow Spear out or be able to enchant him with another +1/+1 or +2/+0. Untapping a creature just doesn't help us because we're not going to be attacking unless we're trying to win. We're just trying to stall. The other thing is, with us trying to stall, I don't know how aggressive we are at 5 mana, but it is. This protects for sure and is an enchantment. But with that, this may be the right pick. We're probably going to want to be escaping the Typhon or the Chimera, but we may not have them. And if we're stalling to the end of the game, this mills a lot of cards. It also, early in the game, gives you information. If you mill the top 4 cards, you can a lot of times see what their deck is trying to do as early as turn 2. Let's see. So now we're into green. No, this can win games, but it's too expensive. That's got white. Great card. Wish I could use it, but it's white. We do have good blue. We have 2 blue flyers here. And a clone. We'll just look back at white for a second. Oh, this helps us get to the end too. It's a fog. A fog and scry 2. They do no damage to you. You scry 2. You find Kiora. Win the game. Right? That's what that card basically says. In my opinion. This one helps us find creatures and land, but not Kiora. Like, if Kiora is in the top 4, it goes to the bottom. Which could be fine, but it's just not. I don't think it works well in this deck. So, for the 1 enchantment, we'll look and see what white has. There's Omen, there's removal, but we're looking for flying creatures or evasive creatures. We have an Archon, which helps you get removal or something else. I guess you could die and you could get Kiora back, but you've already won if Kiora's in your graveyard, hopefully. A 3/6 with the Scry 1 is pretty amazing, but there's just not enough creatures in my white and blue pool to make Staggering Insight work. All right, so here's what we're doing. So this is 1/1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, right? So we're picking 2 of these cards to go in our deck. And our deck has a little bit of early blockers, some removal, a turtle, a clone that keeps cloning to better creatures, a 1/3. Yeah. So our early game is defensive, our mid game is aggressive, and our end game wins. So that's what we need to keep in mind. This becomes another removal. I don't think that's going to be good enough. It's removal. Maybe. I think this is our pick. It's a 1/3 that helps us loot. So I think that this is going to make it. We'll just leave it there. A 2/3 with a 3/2. It's 2 blockers. If I could recur him, he'd be better. Honestly, a Scry 2. Prevent damage and Scry 2. On turn 4 in green. I think it's these 2 cards. Although he can just win games. How much removal do we actually have? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'll say 4. So with 4 removal, this menace isn't good enough to make it. Well, we have plenty to sacrifice, but I believe. I think it's these 2. Yep. These 2 make it, the rest don't. That's 17 land. Oh, I thought I had more room than that. So is Traveler's Amulet good enough? We're very green in the beginning. This would be good in the beginning too. Scry helps us find land. Maybe Eidolon's not good enough. It's not going to be an early blocker with our mana. It's just a draw 3 for 8. I mean, you can chump block and then draw 3, but I don't think we're heavy enough into blue to make Eidolon work. I think this is a better card than Eidolon. So let's look at our curve. We've got a couple of 1-drops, which really can be played with anything else later on. Got quite a few 2-drops, but only 3 of them we're counting on. No. This is our only 2-drop that's an actual early game play. Hornbeetle doesn't come out until you have a power 4 creature, usually. And Return to Nature is removal. It would be nice if this is an early game play, but I'm not going to dedicate the red mana to do it. Although we do have this. This scries 1 and adds red mana. Yeah, so we've got 1 2-drop, 2 3-drops. So we have 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s that are all one color. Oh, 3 1s, because the Traveler's Amulet. On turn 4, this is good if they have a wide board. This is good if we need to put on pressure. I have a lot of 4-drops. Removal. This gets us all the way up to Dream Shaper. I think I said earlier that I could sacrifice Dream Shaper to get Kiora, but you can't. You can only find creatures. But it's okay. Like, it's plenty enough to sacrifice and a Blessing for Witness, or a Omen or Aspect for a Typhon. It's even enough to sacrifice this, the Oread Blaze for the Chimera if we really need to put in pressure, because the sacrifice helps the escape as well. I think we're good. That's the deck. Let me know what you think, and we'll start the next game. We'll start the first game here in a couple minutes.